Om Swastiastu, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Shalom Nama Budaya, Salam Sejahtera bagi kita semua, Salam Harmoni. Well, hello everyone. As we know, we're still on a pandemic situation and do a virtual meetings in the learning process. So, do you ever know what the impact caused by virtual meeting, especially on language learners? So, I am Sisylia Paramitha. Here, I will do a presentation of my research with the topic the impact of virtual meeting on EFL learners' social interaction skills. All right, here I will divide this presentation into three parts. They are background, the second one is literature review, and the third one is methodology. Okay, without any further ado, let's start this presentation. All right, let's see this one first. Indonesian English Proficiency Index, or EPI, based on the data from EF Education First as a global language teaching service provider, again launched the English Proficiency Index Report 2021. Okay, here, just focus on Indonesia. In 2021, Indonesian EPI achievement is ranked 80 out of 112 countries, or down 6 places compared to its position last year. Despite the increase in scores, this year Indonesia is still in low category for English proficiency. Okay, this is will raise the question, what the biggest thing to improve Indonesian language proficiency? Okay, we will find the answer in the next slide. All right. Okay, this is my research topic, the impact of virtual meeting on EFL learners' social interaction skills. As I said before, there will has two variables, virtual meeting and also EFL learners' social interaction skills. And that's become our focus here to knowing the impact of virtual meeting on EFL learners' social interaction skills on 4A class at English Language Education, Language and Art Faculty, Ganesha University of Education. So, what the connection between language proficiency with social interaction? Let's see the answer on the background of the study. Here, I give you 3 points that can conclude my background. They are the first one, essential rule of English. The second one is language learners' goals. And then learning media on pandemic. English has an essential role as a lingua franca. It is used dominantly by people around the world to communicate. English is global importance for business or economic sector, diplomacy, tourism, education sector, science, entertainment, and etc. Based on that statement, EFL is a crucial subject for finding ways to teach EFL in the modern education challenges is how to create an interactive environment which EFL learners can interact with others. And interaction in EFL environments is highly valued for understanding the target language expression in developing language proficiency. All right, the second is language learners' goal. So according the expert in language learning, the learners will be said successful if they can implement the 4 basic language skills or integrated skills in real-life communication. So to achieve this objective, social interaction skills are one of several approaches to implement in the EFL context to use. Okay, the next is learning media on pandemic COVID-19. Okay, as we know, commonly we use e-learning, Zoom meeting, Google Meet, or Google Classroom. So online learning is expected to be an alternative in overcoming the problem of independent learning that allows students to learn broader knowledge material in the internet world. And this become a problem for EFL learners. Why? Because the virtual meeting is the setting of virtual classroom on online learning that purge from face-to-face learning in real classroom to e-learning classes or virtual meeting classes. And why become a problem here? Let's see the answer based on the problem identification of this study. Okay, this is I have 3 points here. They are authentic communication, passive behavior, and learner's attitude. Why? Even the purpose of virtual classroom is more flexible and develop independent learning, some problems sometimes cannot be realized by the students or teacher. Commonly, virtual classroom is not authentic. Lack of interaction include communication, and low interaction is the point of rise passive behavior on the students, and attitude of learners is really crucial here to show the respect with each others. Okay, next is the research question. So the research question can determine based on the background of the study. Is there any influence of virtual meeting towards EFL learners' social interaction skills in 4A class English language education, language and art faculty, Ganesha University of Education? Okay, based on the research question, the purpose of this study will divide it into two. They are theoretical significance and also practical significance. The first one is theoretical significance. So the result of this research hope can enrich empirical references regarding the impact of the use of virtual learning on EFL learners' social interaction skills. And practical significance, the study is expected to influence the prospective in EFL teachers to concern with the social interaction skills that really important for language learners. Now we move to literature review. Okay, literature review will divide it into three parts. So the first one is theoretical review, the second is empirical review, and the last is research hypothesis. Okay, let's start with theoretical review. So the social constructivism from social constructivism theory from Lev Vygotsky will be the guided concept in this study. Because from the expert, social interaction is a social process where consists with participants who plays an active role and aims mutually beneficial. And based on the importance of the social interaction skills are supported by this theory. And the theory show that language and culture are interrelated, build the frameworks among individual, experience, communicate, and understand the reality. And this theory will give consideration in this study about collaborative learning that support based on interaction, discussion, and sharing. Okay, and next is empirical point of view. Okay, here the empirical study about social interaction support the statement about the importance to consider about the social interaction for language learning. Actually, I found many empirical study about social interaction skills. For making effective and more simple conclusion, I just put three empirical study here. So there are the first one from Nasrin Saud Al-Hamadi 2020 related to the impact of interaction on second language in the Saudi EFL context result in positive improved language learning outcome. And next is the study, beside the positive improve, in some cases, learners' speaking skills are often quite low compared to their listening, reading, and writing skills. This is caused by a lack of practice, and learners rarely interact with each other. This is the study from Al-Jabri et al. 2014. And the last is the difficulty with technology, such as login problems and microphone problems, were real barriers to participation. This is the study, the use of Eliminate Leave by McBrien, 2021. Okay, we conclude here some empirical study concerned with the technological or technical challenge of virtual meeting, such as internet connection, logging that can reduce the effectiveness of social interaction, but very crucial to consider with the challenge how to make EFL learners influence their communication skills without through real communication, prefer passive behavior and attitude. Because as I said before, the real success in teaching English is when the EFL learners can communicate in English in authentic ways. All right, that's about the empirical point of view. Okay, This is research hypothesis. I have null hypothesis and also alternative hypothesis. Let's see the null hypothesis. That there will not be a statistically significant difference in the mean speaking score test and social interaction of EVL learners who participate in the virtual meeting, Zoom or Google Meet, opposed EVL learners who participate or e-learning Undiksa. And let's see the alternative hypothesis in the speaking score test and social interaction of EVL learners. This is opposite. Okay, we will move into methodology. Okay, this is methodology, include research design, research variable, and etc. Okay, let's look first at research design. So the research of this study use a quantitative experimental to comparing the influence of EVL learner social interaction skills through virtual meetings. A quasi-experimental design was employed in this study in which exciting groups, because the random assignment and selection of the subject was not supporting and possible for the researchers. Here is in the study, the researchers examined the effect of a particular treatment on the symptoms of a particular group compared to other groups using different treatments. They are online discussion or e-learning versus virtual meeting or Zoom or Google meetings. Okay, and the research population and sample of this study. So the subject of this study are EVL learners from English language education, and the subject are in 4th semester, and the population of this study are 8 class in 4th semester, and the research decided to use 4A class as the sample of this study. And 26 EVL learners on 4A class were assigned to divided into experimental and control homogeneous or equal group. And the experimental group involved 13 EVL learners will learn through the use of virtual meetings on Zoom or Google meetings. And the control group also involved 13 EVL learners and will learn through the use of virtual discussion or e-learning Undiksa. Okay, and then the research variable here, I have independent variable and also dependent variable. Independent variables in this study is virtual meeting with the symbol X, and dependent variables is EVL learner social interaction skills with the symbols Y. Okay, independent variable that relate with the manipulation or the treatment in this study, they are the virtual classes implemented with the experimental group versus the online discussion received by the control group. And dependent variable were the social interaction skills, scores, and the scoring on the pre or post test of English speaking test. Okay, that's about research methodology. And we move into instrument and data analysis. Okay, here, the researchers use test method to be instrument here, because the test method is a technique to collecting data by providing a number of question items regarding the material that has been given to the research subject. Okay, and then analysis of research data is very important step in the research activity, because we know valid data analysis will produce valid conclusion too. Okay, let's know and explain one by one. The first is normality test. Normality test is to prove normal or whether or not the data this research using Kolmogorov-Smirnovs and on analysis in SPSS. And the test can serve as the guidance of fit test in special cases distribution normality test. And in decision making of Kolmogorov-Smirnov, we can assume that the data is normal or not with the value. They are, we can see at the table here, value significance more than 0.05, that means the data is normally distributed, and value of significance less than 0.05, that means the data is not normally distributed. Okay, next is homogeneity test. So after checking the normality of the data, the researchers testing the general English ability of the samples use the quick placement test. The participants' performance will compute on the TPT through descriptive statistics of means and standard deviation on SPSS. And the test consists with 30 multiple choice items of integrated skills and should take around 35 minutes to complete the test. Okay, next is question reliability test. To find out whether the test is reliable or not, as a measuring tool that describes the accuracy of test takers in answering question, the reliability of the question must be good too. To determine the magnitude of the reliability index of the test, the technique by Kuder-Richardson 20 or TR20 will be the test here. And the instrument is said to be reliable if the magnitude of the reliability index obtained is R11 more than 0.70. Okay, next is multivariate statistical test and post hoc test. So, testing the validity and reliability of the test question, the researchers conduct multivariate statistical tests through MANOVA-Hotelling trains or T-square to testing the effectiveness between experimental and control group on SPSS. Okay, we can see here the level of significance of the MANOVA. The significance is less than value 0.05. Null hypothesis is accepted and alternative hypothesis is rejected, which means that on average, the two treatments have the same significance. And the level of significance more than the value 0.05, null hypothesis is rejected and alternative hypothesis is accepted, which means that the mean of the two treatments is significantly different. So to investigate which dependent variable is significance different, further test or post hoc was conducted. The follow-up test is a one-tailed test in which the researchers hypothesis that there will not be a statistically significant difference in the mean speaking score test and social interaction of EFL learners who participate in the virtual meeting or experimental group oppose EFL learners, and who participates in the online discussion or control group, and summary of the further test result using independent sample t-test on SPSS. And independent sample t-test was used to compare the two groups of mean from two different samples. Okay, let's see the criteria of independent sample test here. So the significant value more than 0.05, the null hypothesis is accepted and the alternative hypothesis is rejected. This means that partially the independent variable does not have a significant effect on the dependent variable. And significant value less than 0.05, the null hypothesis is rejected and the alternative hypothesis is accepted. This means partially independent variable, it has a significant effect on the dependent variable. Okay, that's about the instrument and the data analysis on this research study. And this is time and schedule of this research will be carried out within 6 months or 1 semester from January to June 2022. The research schedule includes preparation, implementation, and reporting of research result in the form of bar chart, like in the slide here. Okay. All right, that's about the research timeline. That's all about my presentation about my research study, the impact of virtual meeting on EFL learners' social interaction skills. I'm really waiting for your suggestion, comments, or critique are very welcome. Thank you for your attention and see you.